Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to do a very quick review for The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions. These 2003. I was so excited for these movies. I'd seen The Matrix on DVD. My dad used to have a friend from work who would come over and we'd watch DVDs, and The Matrix was incredible, very exciting. So I'd probably seen it a few times, and then sequels. I mean, often sequels are not as good. It varies, but I mean, same director. When it's the same director, and when they've, this is like 4 years later, often you end up, and the budget I think was pretty good. Same cast, pretty much. Often it can be very good. It can be as good or better. There are plenty of cases. Toy Story 2, Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back. I know there are lots of cases where it doesn't happen, but a lot of the sequels that aren't as good, they're by a different director. When it's the same director, you tend to have a better hit rate. And with like video games, if anything, I'd say sequels are usually better, I think. Anyway, I also want to mention at the time I started downloading trailers and stuff. It's just funny thinking back then, like a 30 megabyte file was just huge. It was just epic. It would take a while to download some high quality trailer for a movie. But I would make these DVDs, VCDs as well, but mainly DVDs of like collections of trailers. And Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions were among the ones. Around 2003. Hulk, X-Men 2, those were some of the kinds of movies I was excited about. Anyway, yeah, they were quite disappointing. Reloaded, I think it has. So I rewatched them. Some of the action is really good. It's really cool, like really exciting, and that part I liked. Like it really does have a lot going on. There's a part in the highway section I think is pretty cool. It's just such a long part. They start swinging. He has like a sword, and there's two twins that disappear and then come back. Like they go kind of like in a parallel dimension or something, and then they come back to solid again. Yeah, just all the driving and shooting, and that part's pretty epic in its own little unique style. I did think it was a bit silly that Neo. I don't know. I didn't feel like it was consistent. Like he can fly now, but right near the start, he's fighting one of these guys, and it's like, upgrades. Like that's it. That's the whole explanation of. Because he was way he could like fight Agent Smith one-handed, like, and just easily beat him. And the other two agents ran away, but these new agents, oh, they've been upgraded. Of course, these sequels, the mumbo jumbo with the Oracle and with some of the other characters, it just, some of the dialogue is so bad. Some of the part at the start where it's like a rave party and, and there's a sex scene and it's there's some really stupid dialogue about machines and are we dependent on the machines? Are we in control or do they control us? Like, I don't know, Einstein. Do we, like, you could pick fruit from trees and do we control the fruit or does the fruit control us? I mean, do we control the oxygen or does the oxygen control us? You know, I think we're in charge. We're the ones with the brains. We built the machines. We can turn them off. We benefit from that. This is where some people they get things back to front. Like you work for someone, you have a job, you get paid, and then like people like you're a slave. Your livelihood depends. Just because good things come from interacting with someone else doesn't mean you're a slave to it. Just because breathing keeps you alive doesn't mean you're a slave. Like it's a weird way to look at it. That big fight with Agent Smith and all these copies, that was pretty fun. Like, I thought it was pretty cool. There's not many things like that in movies that I can name. I think some of the effects may be a little dated, but it's still pretty impressive and pretty exciting. It's also got that bit of humor as well. It's like running around, kick, 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 kick. It does feel pretty exciting, and then the big explosion, and then he kind of runs away. But I'm not going to pretend the movie made that much sense to me. At the time that I watched it, it's been maybe a month or two since I watched it now, but I have forgotten a bit. The stuff with the architect is mostly just pretentious. When I first saw it, I thought, this is too complicated. I don't understand. He's using all these big words or sophisticated language. No, it's just stupid. It's pretentious. That's it. He mentions, like, I guess the one is like a systemic anomaly that has to occur. It's kind of vague, and there's been 5 different matrices. I like the Will Ferrell send up for the MTV Movie Awards. That one's better.
Bullshit. Watch the sass, Captain Sassy Pants.
It's hilarious when all those guys shoot at him and he just stops all the bullets and then they like just get into a fist fight or using different swords and stuff and all the slow motion. It's still pretty cool. The music I liked. It pumps you up. I remember my brother would often. I mean, this happened when we were kids as well. But he would like rewatch just those action sequences. And yeah, the Matrix Reloaded. I could just rewatch the action sequences quite a few times because they are fun and pretty cool. And it's nice when they've like choreographed all this movement. And, you know, they keep hitting and it is cool. Anyway, but the movie overall was disappointing compared to The Matrix. But I thought, right, this is what I thought. I thought Revolutions is going to be epic. It's going to be cool because they saved the best for last. I couldn't be more wrong. I hated it. I looked away for parts of it. The part where Trinity dies is just feels really. Oh, spoiler alert! It should have been obvious from the start. Just lame. A big fight with the robots. It's kind of alright in a way. It's still pretty epic, but it's dull in terms of like color. Like compared to at least the first movie has some really cool epic parts, like with the helicopter and saving Morpheus and the machine gun and like some of the kung fu fighting and jumping over buildings and shooting and the dodgy bullets. Like all of that was revolutionary. But yeah, by comparison, just all these robots and it's kind of just lame. And then these other women who are just like shooting the missiles. It's all kind of metallic, all black, dark, black, silver. There's just not much going on, and it also seemed weird. Like that doesn't seem like the most. If you attack a big metal machine, I feel like a machine gun is not. It's not going to be the most effective. You need a different type of weapon. I also feel like some of the dialogue gets worse, and some of the acting I didn't like as much. Jada Pinkett Smith, I'm not as impressed by, and some of the others. There's another black guy, or I don't know if he's black. You know, there's people that are brown. You don't know their background. Yeah, a lot of the characters I couldn't even tell you. Oh yeah, there was also that guy who was very good at doing a Hugo Weaving impersonation. Mr. Anderson, welcome back. We missed you. And he would do it, and he would do it really well. And apparently, that's how he got the role, or something. Anyway, this guy, I didn't get it. He's like gonna stab Neo, and then he hides it behind his back, and it's just the lamest thing. And then at the end of Reloaded, this twist of like, dun, dun, dun. He's lying down next to him, and then the way a lot of the dialogue was, yeah, it was so awful. It's like I have to go here. Why? I have to. I must. Oh, when he's at a train station and there's this little Indian girl, again, very stilted acting. I mean, she's just a kid, but Keanu Reeves, I think he can act, but it's like she's like, are you from the Matrix? He's like, yes, no, I mean I was. Just the movie falls flat on its face. Oh yeah, the part with Agent Smith is like, it ends tonight, and there's a whole bunch of them. And I remember my brother mentioned as well, like he was like, this is gonna be epic, and then it's just only one fight. I'm like, you got all these other ones. Why don't they fight? Why don't they help or do something? They're just gonna watch. And then why? Why do you persist? Why do you just? And it's because I choose to. Like, whoa, what a great line. You could have any line at that point, because I choose to. Seriously. Oh my god. It's also very, I mean, I feel bad for the Oracle from the earlier movies, I think passed away, so that she looks different in Revolutions, and it's very awkward. They kind of mention it, but it's very awkward, and I didn't like the ending either. There's kind of a sunset, and also the machines. He kind of tells the machines. He approaches them and says, you know, you have to destroy Neo. Speak, and it's got like the face of a baby. I didn't like any of that. It was also kind of weird. There was potential. One of the flaws with the first one, in a way, is that they never questioned the real world. The whole point of the Matrix is, how do you know this is real? You think that's air you're breathing? Which is a really interesting philosophical or kind of psychological thing of like, how do you know if this is real or not? But the question, like if you then wake up to the real world, one of the first questions is still be, wait, how do I know this is real? How is this different? You know, you should always. So one of the exciting things is that in Reloaded Revolutions, that there's parts where he, in the real world, he kind of is able to use some kind of weird power, and then you're like, wait a minute, like it could really go further. Like the real world could end up being itself a matrix, or there could be some other weird connection thing going on. That's why it's kind of weird, I guess, how Agent Smith controls that guy, which I didn't understand how. But anyway, as it appears in the movie, it's just confusing, and I have no idea what the hell was going on, and I just don't think it does it very well. But at the same time, it's so pretentious. The whole thing acts like, oh yeah, this all makes sense. And everyone seems to know what's going on, and like, yeah, this makes sense. And a lot of the tension doesn't work because of that. It's such hokey dialogue that we don't buy. We don't care about these people. We don't understand what's at stake. We don't understand why there's these weird rules about why are we trusting Neo? Because I believe in him. Because he convinced me, or because the Oracle told me. It's a lot of it sounds kind of religious, but just that kind of dogmatic belief in something because I know, because it says. I did like Monica Bellucci, let's say for at least two reasons. Her outfits were pretty cool. And there's this French guy, I forget his character name, and there's a thing about this woman who has a bit of cake. I feel like some of the ideas there are interesting, but again, they don't go very far. They don't. It's kind of like pseudo. It's like someone did philosophy 101 or psychology 101, and now they're like making a movie and like have all these ideas, and their ideas just don't go that far. Not that I'm an expert on those areas, but there's a lot more questions you could ask. And I think the best movies don't just have characters talking about them explicitly. They explore them more. Like even old fairy tales, I think, get deeper in some of these things by giving a character lots of power and then seeing what they do and then seeing how it backfires, like the Hand of Midas or something. I think Inception takes some of these ideas a lot further. There was a pretty cool action sequence in Revolutions with the shooting, and I did kind of like that. There were a few plot points that I kind of liked. I thought I understood it a little bit better this time. But overall, they were a massive disappointment. Such a drop in acting, in dialogue, in overall story, and part of Revolutions. Some of it was so pretentious and just really lame. The fight with Agent Smith, I think, is very disappointing. It's still kind of fun. It's okay. It's not an absolutely terrible movie, but it's uh, too many weaknesses to properly enjoy, I think. I feel like maybe Morpheus plays a smaller role, and Trinity I started to not like. It was like her and, I don't know, I have my own philosophy to do with love. I think it should be more of a positive thing, that you each gain something from loving someone else, that you enjoy each other's company. It feels more like with her and Trinity and Neo that it's almost more of a dependency, or like a, yeah, I don't know. I prefer to live for someone than to die for them. I don't get that. Or I couldn't live without you. I find that weird. I find it much more profound to say I want to live with you. I feel more excited that you're alive, but okay, that we're to be with you or something. But if we can't be together, or if you pass away, I'm not going to say, oh, that's it, that's the end of my life. I don't get that. I don't see why that's necessary. And it just feels like they're a bit, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Trinity loses some of her coolness and independence. And the same with Neo. It's like they just love each other and that's it. And like, to the point that you're going to like sacrifice, you're not even going to think about or care about, I don't know, thousands of other people or principles, or I don't know. They feel like they become weaker and kind of just, I don't like that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll pretty much leave it there. I think V for Vendetta's a bit better. So the Wachowskis have had some ups and downs. I haven't seen Speed Racer. I think they made that. They may have made some other things. I don't know if they made part of Cloud Atlas. I forget. I hated that one. But yeah, these movies are, a few of the action scenes are fine, especially Reloaded. A bit of Revolutions. A few little philosophical ideas and lines here and there, a little bit. Monica Bellucci. But other than that, I hate these sequels. They're terrible. So yeah, overall they're kind of mediocre. I'd say maybe a 6 for Reloaded and maybe a 5 or 4 for Revolution, something like that, or a 7 and a 5, something like that. Anyway, all right. Thanks for watching. Bye.